Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a British comedy from 2004 that was requested by a friend of mine. Now, here is the thing. She didn't give me a whole lot of detail about it. All I know is the fact that it is a British comedy, and I know the title. The title is Sex Lives of the Potato Men. Now, I just want to share this. When I first heard that title, I was picturing some kind of a fucking, stop-motion outing. Maybe perhaps a stop-motion porno involving a bunch of animated potatoes. Maybe, perhaps that is just me because I am a warped and sick fucker, but it might also be because that's probably the first thing that pops into most people's heads when they hear a movie called Sex Lives of the Potato Men. But I don't know what the fuck it's about. All I know is that it's supposedly a comedy, and sometimes that doesn't count in this series, because I have run into some very unfunny fucking comedies. But hey, I'm not going to know until I watch it. So, it's time to just see if this movie's any good. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Sex Lives of the Potato Men. Well, guys, no matter how good or bad this movie is, I can say that the soundtrack's awesome. Why? Motorhead. That's why. Wait a minute, wait. So we have our two main characters. One of them thinks that wasps make honey. The other one had no idea that bees made honey. Mind you, that is the closest thing we have to fucking character depth or even humor so far in this movie. Everything else has been some of the most depraved sex, sex talk I've ever heard in a fucking movie. So, yeah, so far we are not off to a very, swinging start here. Alright, folks. I have to share this. One of our characters here has a horrible fetish involving sandwiches. Because he's trying to replicate the oh my god, he was fucking the sandwich? Oh. Well, that certainly turned my stomach a little bit. Anyway, back onto my point. His fetish is not funny, and it just got a lot more disgusting with that last fucking scene. Shall we strangle the hamster? That has got to be the unsexiest euphemism I have ever fucking heard. Jesus Christ. So did he just get threatened with eviction if he doesn't flash his dick to a senior citizen? How the fuck is any of this funny? I'm really getting kind of curious. You guys know how earlier I mentioned this movie had a really cool soundtrack because it opened with Motorhead? This is one of the worst versions of Come On Eileen I have ever heard. The fact that it's being sung by a drunken retard at a karaoke bar is not enough of a fucking excuse to explain how much this fucking blows. So she got revenge on her ex-boyfriend by literally spraying his bedroom with liquefied dog shit. That was one of the most nauseating things I've ever seen. Holy shit. Well, guys, there is a little bit of good news. See, it seems that the copy of Sex Lives of the Potato Men I downloaded doesn't have the end credits. So, goody, it ended my fucking suffering for me by just shutting off the movie. Good times. Now I get to rip into this fucking thing. I'm going to start with writing. And those of you who've been watching this series long enough, you fucking know I almost always start with fucking writing. First of all, as a comedy, this thing fails And it fails on an absolutely colossal level. There is absolutely no humor to be found in this goddamn movie. Every single joke falls absolutely flat, and the only way you might be able to get even a bit of a giggle out of it is if you're either 12 years old or you have the mindset of a fucking 12-year-old, where poorly written sex jokes are the one thing you need to just get you laughing your ass off. So, we already have humor, which totally sucks. The plot, guys, can be summed up as thus. 4 people who work for a company whose sole job is to deliver potatoes, which is why they're called the Potato Men. 4 people who work there, we get to see every single one of their sexual fetishes and failures for an hour and 18. That's it. That's totally it, guys. There is not a fucking thing here beyond that. But I'm going to attempt to sum up all 4 of our main characters here. Alright, we have one of them who is stalking his ex-girlfriend, who dumped him because he lied to her about his job. He stalks her, literally stalks her to the point where she has to change her phone numbers, her fax numbers, and her email address. Apparently all of this is supposed to be absolutely hilarious. He jacks off in the bushes while he watches her undress from her bedroom window, and then he steals her dog with the fucking intent to kill it, and then keeps it as his own until they find it, and then they, I'm going to assume, kick his ass and take the fucking dog back. So that's one of our characters. Oh yes, he is just such a lovable motherfucker, and he is the only one in the film who, in the end, is fucking engaged to somebody. Spoilers on that. But then again, I don't think anyone is going to fucking care, because there was no real, like, sexual tension or sexual buildup or even any kind of, like, relationship buildup or even character buildup between him and the woman who he gets fucking engaged to. So nobody's going to give a shit. Now, we have 3 other characters I have to talk about. One of them is a guy who, for the first, 10 minutes of the film or so, constantly bitches because he hasn't had sex in over 2 years. His wife kicks him out. He is then involved in one of the most unsexy 3 ways ever committed to film. He then tries and fails, apparently, to get involved in fucking group sex. And, well, that's it. He basically just fails time and again. He does finally get, laid a couple of times. But he still, even through all of that, comes off as this whiny little bitch, and it makes him absolutely unfucking lovable. We then have his best friend, who apparently is some form of a sex addict, because that's pretty much all he does throughout the entire film. Is he fucks a woman in a chip shop, he fucks his stepmom because she forces him to. He almost got a blowjob from a senior citizen, and he has sex with at least 2 or 3 other women over the course of the entire film. So to call him a man whore is kind of an understatement. Alright. And really, that is his entire character arc, is the guy is a man whore. A skinny, blonde man whore. That's it. Now we have the last one, who has this bizarre fetish because one of his ex-girlfriends allowed him to smear strawberry fucking jam into her cooch and eat her out. So now he has to make strawberry jam and fish paste sandwiches because it turns him on. He eats them, and he also fucks these fucking sandwiches. That is really all the depth he fucking gets, is he has this fetish involving strawberry jam. That's it. He will never stop fucking talking about it, and he seems to carry a goddamn jar with him everywhere, so that way if he does wind up finding a woman who for whatever reason wants to fuck him, he can then pull it out and say, "Would you mind if I did a little something first?" It's absolutely disgusting, it is disturbing, and it is far from funny. And that's it, guys. That is all the fucking depth we get for any of these fucking characters. So, yeah, we have characters who totally suck. The story has almost as little structure and substance as bullshit like Napoleon Dynamite, except this has at least a little bit more there in terms of structure. So, hey, at least in terms of writing, it's better than fucking Napoleon Dynamite, but that isn't saying much. So, we have characters who suck. We have a story which goes literally nowhere. And, of course, because the script is so fucking shitty, I'm going to blame the writers for the fact that the acting sucks, because I always say you can only work with what is given, and when you're given a script that was this fucking bad, I certainly wouldn't have turned in a fucking decent showing, because if the writer is not going to try, why the fuck should I? And that was probably the entire attitude of the whole cast, is that the writers were not going to try to give us something of quality, so why the hell should we turn in a fucking performance that is in any way memorable or even good? So the acting in this film is complete and total crap from top to bottom, and that I guess I was kind of expecting when the story began to go right downhill. Sound. I'm going to talk about the music, because I have never seen this happen in any film ever. It starts off with a very high point of playing Ace of Spades by Motorhead, and the music, literally, over the course of an hour and 18 minutes, the music will de-evolve in quality from something as awesome as Motorhead burying itself even fucking below the bottom of the fucking barrel for a god-awful karaoke rendition of Come On I fucking Lean. And there is no, like, upswing in quality from this. It starts with Motorhead, and it very quickly just sort of like drills itself down into bullshit over the course of this rather short film. I never thought I would say that, because usually when a movie starts off with an awesome song, usually the rest of the score and the rest of the soundtrack are able to live up to it. But here, it literally just goes right downhill. It's really kind of sad. And beyond that, in terms of sound, I really can't say anything else, because the sound was actually mixed in rather competent fashion. Same thing also goes with camera work. The camera work here is really good and very, very competently done, and I'm almost afraid to mention this, but I am kind of proud of the fact that they added in that slight, subtle touch anytime that they had a POV shot of a character jerking off, which, mind you, that happened multiple times in this film. The camera is shaking as if we are actually watching it from their eyes. So at least they knew how to do a POV shot of somebody beating off and do it well. However, that isn't saying a whole lot. In fact, that is almost a disgusting thing to praise somebody for, but god damn it, I'm going to find a silver lining in this somewhere. Can I recommend this movie to anybody? No. There is no way in God's green earth I could fucking recommend this thing to anybody, because I don't hate anybody enough to recommend something like this to. Now, before I get flooded with comments, because this almost always happens anytime I post a fucking review and the movie sucks. No, it is not as bad as the 41-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall and felt super bad about it. Please stop asking that. A movie would probably have to rape me and give me AIDS before it was as bad as the 41-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall, okay? So, frankly, This thing honestly is not even bad. This thing is not even bad enough to be in my bottom 5. It is just an unwatchable pile of shit, and frankly, I'm happy I'm done watching it. Which also means that I have a friend who's probably going to be really happy, because I finally fulfilled her friggin' request and covered this thing. And I'm going to have to ask her why, because I'm kind of curious now. Because God, I personally wouldn't even tell a sworn enemy to fucking watch this. That is how bad this movie was. But hey, the good news, the silver lining in this pitch black cloud is that I'm done with the movie. I never have to watch it again. Now I can go and delete it off my fucking hard drive, and I'll be a hell of a lot happier. So, folks, I'm going to do just that. And with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.